10 iconic watches. All right then. Since its introduction in 1989, the F91W has been in production for almost 35 years now. It's flat, simple, rugged and reliable, costing just a little more than a meal for two at McDonald's. Today it doesn't come in just black anymore, you can get them in a range of bright colours, which is perfect for people who like to wear a bit of personality on their wrist. This watch is so cheap and cheerful that Casio sell around 3 million of these watches a year. From children, I had one as a kid and now my kids do today, to blue collar workers, celebrities and politicians all wear Casios, so I think you should too. If the F91W isn't hardcore enough for you, well, why don't you buy a Casio on steroids instead? I'm talking about the insanely cool GShock 5600 series, an absolute banger of an 80s classic, seeing release in 1987, making it 2 years older than the F91W. At between £60 to £100, this watch still features all resin, but it is much tougher. Side note, you can get a full metal G if you want, if you're happy to pay much more money. This one boasts higher levels of water resistance. I know the F91W can take a beating too, but this watch is actually tested for that. A suite of different colours and the option for a traditional battery, solar powered models, multi-band 6 and the Bluetooth connectivity means this watch beats out any smartwatch in functionality, design and reliability in my book. In the affordable watch space, there is one diver's watch that still gets love to this day. The Seiko SKX series, introduced in 1996, featured the 7S26 in-house automatic movement and was also ISO certified, so you know, an actual diver's watch. Sure, in today's market, the SKX wouldn't be seen as the bargain it once was, thanks to the Seiko shuffle automatic movement and the lack of sapphire crystal covering the dial. You only get Seiko's proprietary hardlex, by the way, for the SKX. But it still did something very important, which is bring a proper serious diver's watch to the masses for affordability. We've jumped up a price bracket here. Now it's time to get serious. Well, as serious as I like to get on this channel at any rate. In 1917, Louis Cartier created an icon amongst the dress watch world. The funny thing is that at its beginning, you would liken it more to a field watch. I'm talking, of course, about the Cartier Tank. One of the first watches was actually gifted to General John Pershing from the Parisian brand. He was the CO of the American Expeditionary Force stationed in the city during World War I. This version of the Tank Normal was the blueprint for all of the tanks that were to come. Legends like Andy Warhol, Muhammad Ali and Princess Diana all wore the watch, with Warhol even saying, "I don't wear a tank watch to tell the time. In fact, I never wind it. I wear a tank because it's the watch to wear." That's very cool, isn't it? Cooler than me. Oh, and by the by, did you know the Cartier was inspired by an actual tank, the Renault FT17? The Grand Prix and Steve McQueen, two things that make any enthusiast amongst us think about the tag Heuer Monaco. This watch was created in 1969 to commemorate the Monaco Grand Prix and was worn on the King of Cool's wrist, Mr. Steve McQueen. Today you can find a bunch of different designs online, from special editions through to the OG and stuff that is more conservative. This is by far Tag's most well-known design in my opinion. Don't you just hate it when you're constantly worrying about the condition of your watch whilst playing polo? Just me? Well, perhaps it's a first world problem, but enter the JaegerLeCoultre and the Reverso. This watch was designed in 1931 and has loads of different designs and awesome colorways, in addition to the additional complications. And the JLC are well known for being the watch enthusiast watch brand. And in a fight between Cartier and JLC, I think I'd have to choose JLC every time. By the way, is it JaegerLeCoultre or JaegerLeCoultre or JaegerLeCoultre or just JLC? Let me know in the comments below, because I don't know. Okay, so we are over halfway. We are into the final four. So let's have a look at a brand that I love. And if you're a fan of aviation, you should love this brand too. Introducing the Breitling Navitimer. First introduced in 1952, it was made specifically for pilots as an evolution to the Chronomat. This watch has been through so many iterations, from a Valjoux-based movement to Venus to even a quartz movement. It's the ultimate pilot's tool watch. I mean, look at the dial. It's equal parts awesome and actually terrifying in its complexity. And trust me when I say this, I'm not a very complex guy. Today, this beast is powered by the in-house 01 caliber and has been the official watch of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. Have I said that right? AOPA? Yep, cool stuff, cool stuff. The Audemars Piguet Royal Oak is one of the most celebrated watch designs ever in watch circles. Introduced in 1972, it was the brainchild of a little-known watchmaker called Gerald Genter. But seriously, if you don't know who that guy is, look him up. You really should. He is a legendary designer, and this is a legendary design. It single-handedly saved the brand and became an iconic timepiece that would inspire Genter's later work with the Patek Philippe Nautilus and the IWC Ingenieur. Now, you can grab a slice of that integrated bracelet goodness today at affordable prices from brands like Tissot and Citizen. Okay, so tell me how long you thought it would be before I mentioned this watch. I bet you thought it would be the first one I would mention, right? Well, the fact of the matter is that the Submariner is probably the world's most recognizable watch. Honestly, get any Tom, Dick or Harry on the street to draw an approximation of what a watch looks like, and they will most probably do something like this. Crude drawings aside, this watch is probably the most popular luxury watch in the world nowadays. Yes, it may not be the world's first dive watch, that honour goes to Blancpain, and it may not be the most technically clever of dive watches. I'd probably point you to Glashütte Original on that one. But this is the most iconic dive watch. Since 1953, it has been worn by celebrities, James Bond, divers on oil rigs, and the upper management of your company after a pretty good sales quarter. It remains iconic, but is it the most iconic? As I was going through this list, one watch stood out to me to be the most iconic. Look, I'm not surprised if you don't agree with me on this one, but I'm also wouldn't be surprised if you did agree with me. But this is my list, and the watch that is the most iconic in my personal opinion is a watch that has actually been to the moon. In my opinion, it pips any dive watch worn by the world's greatest spy, fictional, any day. The Omega Speedmaster is also lovingly known in the community as the Moon Watch, and was first introduced in 1957 as a sport and racing chronograph. It made its first space debut in 1962, and since then became the official NASA space watch worn on multiple occasions, including arguably the most important footage in human history, the original moon landing in 1969. I can't go into the full history of this watch here because it is so long and so acclaimed, but I will on another day. I said at the beginning of this list that I would leave a bonus watch at the end, and I think have delivered a great watch with this one. It is a truly iconic design and deserves to be on this list, but let's be honest here, the reason why it's not in the main list is because there is no one brand that can claim ownership over this legendary design. I'm talking, of course, about the Dirty Dozen, a design from 12 different watch brands of a field watch that was issued to British soldiers during the last 2 years of World War II. These are British military issued watches, hence the broad arrow, which has been a staple of British military issue watches ever since. The brands, by the way, were Bruin, Sima, Eterna, Grana, JaegerLeCoultre, Limena, Longines, IWC, Omega, Record, Timmer and Vertex. Some of these brands of course still exist today, some were resurrected, others, well, I think we should raise a glass in honour of all they did to help the Allies beat the Nazis. Bing bang boom, so that's my list for today. What do you guys think of the choices that I made? Do you agree with them? What are your top 10 watch choices? Let me know in the comments below. If you want, you've got the ability to give me an extra thank you. That would be much appreciated since I don't do any sponsored reviews on this channel and I still have some watches queued up that I want to get in for review this year. Take care guys, and I will see you all in a future video.